Right, Matt, this is time for our co-main event of the evening. We've got Walt Harris taking on Alistair Overeem in the main event. We got 5 minutes for that, but 2-minute timer for our fight between Claudia Gadelha and Angela Hill at women's strawweight. And a really interesting fight because Claudia Gadelha, she's alternated wins and losses here lately, but it's been against some of the best competition in the division in a really, really packed women's strawweight division in the UFC. For Angela Hill, she wasn't really able to get it going in her first stint in the UFC. Went back to Invicta, had a lot of success, comes back into the UFC again. Some mixed results, but lately, big 3-fight win streak, wins over Ariane Carnelosi. Then she gets it done over Hannah Cifers, finishes her in North Carolina, which was Cifers' home state. And then she fights Loma Lookboonmee in a fight where, listen, Angela Hill went on the Joe Rogan MMA Hour, which is a pretty big podcast, and basically flaunted her Muay Thai skills. And I took that to heart, did a lot of research into the fight with Loma Lookboonmee. Everybody was all over me in the comments because I agreed. I thought Angela Hill, she's going to have success with the Muay Thai. Everybody else went with the Muay Thai artist and Loma Lookboonmee. And Angela Hill able to get a big win there. But she's taken on a really tough test in Claudia Gadelha. Somebody who's been there and done that and has been at the top of this division for a really long time. What do you make of the matchmaking here, and what do you think of this fight?
So I actually really do like the matchmaking. It's kind of odd how strawweight sort of developed throughout its sort of infancy, I would say it's still in. It's only been around for about 4 years, or 5 years, I guess. But strawweight right now has a really, really good top 5, and then a lot of question marks after. Because when you really look at the top 5 of that division, you have Zhang Weili, we can all agree she's very good. Ioana Jędrzejczyk, again. Tatiana Suarez, Jessica Andrade, and Rose Namajunas.
And Nina Ansaroff was out.
Nina Ansaroff is out, and we don't really know what she's going to look like when she comes back through the pregnancy and whatnot. But those top 5 right now are quite a bit better than everyone else in the division. This is an interesting fight because it's going to try to maybe not launch kind of a 6th person into that top ranking, but it's really going to show us a lot about both fighters. Claudia, in her last fight against Randa Marcos, one of the more disappointing performances of her career. I know she got the win, and she's had some, bad losses, wins, the Esparza fight, like Craig likes to bring up. But in the Marcos fight, she had said she was training with Mark Henry, not the world's strongest man, Frankie Edgar's coach. And she was saying that it was her first training camp under Mark Henry, and that she was still kind of getting used to his philosophy and all of his training. And that's why she didn't put on so great of a performance. I think if she is with Mark Henry again in this training camp, if she can really get back to her jiu-jitsu and wrestling roots, she's going to have great success against Angela Hill. But if she does go out there like she tried to do against Nina Ansaroff and strike with her, play that range game, I don't think it's going to end well for Claudia.
Angela Hill is on a heater right now. I mean, you can't deny it. You can watch the videos on Instagram and Twitter where she's in her backyard absolutely wrecking the air with her power punching. But no, Angela Hill's looked great lately. I think, it's just one of those things where she got into MMA late. She faced really good competition. It's a slow burn to the top for her, but right now she's on fire. And Claudia Gadelha, meanwhile, she's been at the top for a really long time. And I think a good camp change is to go to Mark Henry's gym because you have people to train with like the Lance Palmers and the Frankie Edgars of the world that can not just lay and pray, but they can really mix in the takedowns with the strike. And I think that's where Claudia Gadelha really excels. So go somewhere that really accentuates what you're good at. And I think for Claudia Gadelha, that's really the blueprint in this fight. If we get that, who knows? But I think that's what we will get. In terms of the odds, Claudia Gadelha minus 180 favorite. Angela Hill coming in as the underdog plus 150. Over on Tapology, out of a small sample size, 134 votes, 78% are going with Gadelha to get the win. Do you agree with the crowd here or no?
So I do to a certain degree, and I'm going to kind of go back on what I said earlier. Claudia should win this fight, but she has such a big cardio question mark, it's not even funny. Claudia, especially in the Nina Ansaroff fight, got off to a great start. Or the Carla Esparza fight. Gets off to these great starts, really high volume, goes for a lot of wrestling. She kind of fights like Colby Covington for 1 round. The difference is Colby Covington can keep that pace and keep that wrestling up for all 5 rounds quite easily. Claudia, about midway through the 2nd round, will hit a wall, and that's something you really have to worry about. You really have to hope that she can at least implement enough damage and enough control through that first round, round and a half, so that it will affect her opponent enough so that her cardio deficiency won't really take much into account. The Jessica Andrade fight's a great example. Andrade, who she's very wild, but in that fight, Claudia did really well for about a round, and then Jessica just kind of took over as the fight went on. That could be the case here, but Angela Hill, she's had stoppages lately, but they're not really one-punch knockout stoppages. Like, she needs a TKO. She has to get on top. I think if she is going to go for that TKO, she's going to try to ground and pound Claudia. Claudia will somehow be able to get on top eventually. And I'm going to say submission win for Claudia Gadelha.
We'll see what happens in this fight. You're going to want to stay tuned in with Fight Night Picks. We've got picks for 3 different cards in 8 different days. The playlist is over there for this card. And 5 minutes coming up for Walt Harris versus Alistair Overeem. What are we going to get in that one? You'll have to find out. Really looking forward to it. And as always, Matt, with Fight Night Picks, let's get into it.